What's good? What's good, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. This is Constant Sports. I'm your host, Constance, and that's it. Regular season is done with, and the craziness shall begin. Right? So, week 18, top 25 rankings came out, and obviously, there was a lot of moving around trying to get those last. Make sure we got everything right for the top 25. And there is movement up and down. Obviously, number one stays the same with South Carolina going undefeated again this season, 29-0. Big shouts out to them. That's hard to do consecutive years. Coming in number two is Stanford. They came up two positions. Iowa sitting at number three, coming up three positions after they had that big win against Iowa State. Iowa State is now the number four team. They dropped two positions. Number five team is USC. They came up two positions. I'm not sure if you guys already know, but I'm still on the fence when it comes to USC. I know they had a really big win with Juju out due to her falling out of the game, and they won. They won the game in overtime. I believe it was double overtime. It was a really good game, and the the surrounding players and her teammates really stepped to the plate and got them that win. Number six team is Texas. They dropped three positions, but for Texas, they're still sitting pretty darn good, especially with what their expectation was at the beginning of the season, then after injuries, and now they're being as high as number six. Number 17 is UCLA coming up one position. LSU comes in at number eight. UCLA is number seven. LSU is number eight, both coming up one position, along with UConn coming up one position as well at the number nine. And then to round out the top 10, you have NC State, who came up two positions. Um, Virginia Tech is in at number 11. They dropped six positions. They lost to Virginia last night. And with Keatley getting hurt in the game, it that's going to be pretty tough for Virginia State to recover from it. Um, I hope she recovers well from her injuries. But that's a tough blow to Virginia Tech. So we'll see how that works out for them. Indiana is number 12, came up two positions. Oregon State dropped down to number 13, dropping two positions. Notre Dame is sitting number 14. They came up three positions to make it into the top 15. And right out the top 15 is Gonzaga, who came up one position. Now Gonzaga is 29-2. Okay, there's roughly four teams who have two or fewer losses, and there's only two that has one or fewer losses. Um, and those other teams who have the two or fewer losses is Gonzaga, obviously, UNLV, and Fairfield, who made it into the top 25, sitting at number 25. They are 26-1. Um, I know a lot of people probably was like, "Who's Fairfield?" And obviously, they think other teams deserve to be in the top 25, but you can't take away someone's season of 26-1 is hard to do, right? 29-0 is hard to do. So it doesn't matter about your conference, right? Because if it did, UConn went undefeated in their conference, and we all know what their conference looks like, right? So these teams fought like crazy the whole season. We already know that Gonzaga is a very good team, and they definitely battled this season. Only losing two games is an amazing, amazing feat. Number 16 team is Kansas State, dropping one position. Baylor is number 17. They came up four positions. Um, and then you have Colorado, who was sitting at number 18. They dropped five positions. Like we've been seeing with Colorado over the past few weeks, they have definitely been falling off, losing some pretty big games. In some of the games, they're losing by a few points, but then some of them they're losing by double digits. and I'm not quite sure what's happening there, how why the dynamic has changed, but hopefully they figure it out. Oklahoma is number 19. They came up one position. They beat Texas, so they got a really big win to help them stay in the top 25. Syracuse is sitting at number 20. Coming up, they dropped one position actually. Creighton came up two positions at number 21. Utah is still in the top 25, which makes them continuously always dangerous. Sitting at number 22, they dropped four positions. They have been struggling a little bit. UNLV is number 23, came up one position. Louisville is number 24, so they definitely got to stay in the top 25, but they did drop two positions. And then obviously Fairville coming in at number 25. Um, the conference, the conference playoffs, or the however whatever it is that we say, is going to be interesting. Usually, everyone obviously is going to definitely be tuned in to the SEC, just because it's South Carolina, and we already know it's like South Carolina's going to be in the championship unless something crazy happens. But the SEC is such a powerful conference, and the teams playing each other are very intense, so it should be a very good conference. But the Big Ten and the Pac 12 championship, the conference series, is going to be, in my opinion, better than the SEC because of the competition level, right? All of the top teams in the Pac 12 are legit contenders amongst themselves. Obviously, when they start hitting other Power Five schools, they're going to struggle. And then you have the Big Ten, who has a lot of very good teams in it. So I can't wait for the conference play. Um, it's gonna be exciting before we get to the big dance and then all of the craziness of March Madness, right? Going into April. I had this discussion at work. It's like there's not a lot of Cinderellas in the women's college game, right? There's not a lot. It's just how things are, right? All of these teams have these players that have been playing in college for years, right? And some of them have been playing on the exact same team for 4 years. So the dynamics of a team is so intricate that it's hard to beat those top teams for those chances to get Cinderellas, right? Would I love to see a Cinderella in the women's game? Absolutely, because I do believe all these teams are very good in their own right, and it's always about when you peak and if you're having a good game and the other team is having a bad game. It happens. We can't be perfect all the time. We all have bad games, right? But it's all about who can push it to win the game. So all the conferences games will start this week. Obviously, your top two teams will be having those bye games, so we won't really get to see them play until I believe it's like Thursday or Friday. Uh, so I don't know. I can't wait for this to start, get going, and see who are those last two teams standing. I do believe once we get to the Sweet 16 will determine to me who's going to be your final four teams. If you have certain teams in the Sweet 16, those final four teams, most of the time, we probably already going to know who it is. So let's watch the craziest part of this women's game coming up soon. Let continue to help me support these women playing the game that we love. Thank you for supporting me. Like, comment, subscribe. Peace, love, happiness.